governors have annexed the powers of the parliament at the state level. They do not, speakers of the state house of assembly emerges at the pleasure of the governor, and he holds that office at the pleasure of the governor, not at the pleasure of members of the parliament, as is expected. So you find that there is high level of instability in many state assemblies, because the moment a speaker wants to be a man of his own and wants to run an independent institution, the governors find one way or the other to orchestrate the removal of that speaker. So while you really will have impeachment of governor at the state level, you have high level of impeachment or removal of speakers of state house of assembly. Now, over the past 20 years, 21 years, since 1999, there have been attempts by the state house of assembly to have what they call financial autonomy. They were in this struggle together with the federal parliament, that's the National Assembly, the Senate and House of Reps. They were together striving for financial autonomy up until 2010. Luckily for the National Assembly, they succeeded in getting financial autonomy or financial independence from the federal government in 2010, which was 11 years ago. That same year, while the National Assembly passed the financial autonomy for federal legislators, they also passed that of the financial autonomy for state house of assembly. Unfortunately, because of the nature of our federalism, before a constitutional amendment can be valid, there must be concurrence of 2/3 of states House of Assembly approving that particular clause for the amendment to be valid. So when after the passage of the financial autonomy by the National Assembly, both for federal and state level, there was supposed to be consequential amendment by the state house of assembly. But my brother, only 23 state of assembly were able to pass and agree to what their brother at the national level has passed to them, that they should have financial autonomy. They couldn't muster 24 states out of 36 to support their position to get financial autonomy. So that became a futile exercise. Now, the issue came up in 2015 amendment of the Constitution. Unfortunately, the president then, Goodluck Jonathan, did not sign the Constitutional amendment in 2015. So there was another attempt in 2018, which now succeeded. And the president this time around signed, they were able to, the State House of Assembly, after the passage by the federal parliament, by the National Assembly, was able to bolster more than 24 state assemblies to support the financial autonomy bill. The president wasted no time, and on June 8, 2018, the president signed that financial autonomy bill for state house of assembly. You will have thought that this will gladden the heart of the governor. Unfortunately, no. For the past 3 years now, the governor has done everything humanly possible to frustrate the implementation of that financial autonomy in section 213 of the Constitution or thereabout. And when the president waited, there was no implementation. He decided to set up a presidential implementation committee. That's 2018. The presidential implementation committee was headed by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN. They sat for about 1 year, consulted with the governor and with all the relevant authorities to implement that section of the Constitution which has granted the financial autonomy to the State House of Assembly. And that led to the president signing on May 22 last year, Executive Order 10. I'm giving you the historical perspective, my brother. Executive Order 10 was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari on May 22, 2020, 2 years after this constitutional amendment has taken place. To now say that any state that does not allow financial autonomy to their state house of assembly, the accountant general of the federation should debit the whatever is due to the state house of assembly and credit it to the account of the state house of assembly. These governors went to the president and said, no, that is undermining the authority at the state level. But the president said, here is the constitutional provision. You were there when the state assembly passed this legislation in concurrence with their brothers at the national level. You cannot at this time slap the constitution. So back and forth, the state conference of speakers of state house of assembly has been dialoguing with the governors forum for upwards of 3 years now. And what prompted me to write in my column this week about this issue was the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASA, threatening to shut down the state house of assembly if within 21 days there was no implementation of this constitutional provision. The question on my list and on the minds of many Nigerians is, why are the governors against financial autonomy for their state house of assembly?
And if I may
the same way they were against financial autonomy for local government. Recall that in your opening remarks, you did mention that even in 2018 or 2019, the president made a circular saying that whatever is due to local government should be credited directly to the account of local government from the federal level, rather than putting it in a joint state local government account. The governors fought against this provision, saying that it's unconstitutional because the constitution established joint state local government account. And what this governor do with this joint state local government account is that when the funds for local government comes and goes into that account, they redistribute it, because many governors have gone ahead to establish what they call local council development authorities, which are not constitutionally recognized. Like in Lagos now, there are only 20 local government recognized by the constitution in Lagos State. So when the money for local government for these 20 goes into this joint state local government account, they are redistributed to serve 57 20 local government and 37 LTDA that was established by the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was governor of Lagos State between 1999 and 2007. So they use that to redistribute. But the complete constitutional provision breach to that circular in 2018, that the president does not have the power because there is a constitutional provision that talks about joint state local government account. But this one, that is another constitutional provision that says that financial autonomy should be granted to the state house of assembly and judiciary. Why are the governors kicking against it? Why are the governors kicking against provision of section 7 of the constitution?
Well,
that talks about
Dide, as it is now, you just giving me my next line of question. That's asking, why are the governors kicking against this? Because again, if we look at it at local government levels, we have not seen a significant performance of any state, any local government council. We've not seen it. And again, I'm asking, as you've asked too, why are they against this?
I wish I knew. That's why the question is right there. The point is this. Look at it. Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended says that the system of local government should be democratically governed. That is what the wordings of the Constitution is. Democratically governed. You now have a situation where governors are appointing sole administrators, caretaker committees to man local government. When the constitution was expressed it says that no local government should be undemocratically governed. If sole administratorship or caretaker committee recognized by the Constitution as a democratic way of governing local government, they have been in breach of this provision. They have refused to fund state independent electoral commissions, unlike what happened with INEC way back 2010, 10 years ago. INEC, like National Assembly, was put on first-line charge on the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, which is what National Assembly is on. And that's why I said, at the national level, you now have some institutions that are on first-line charge that have financial autonomy. But when you go to the state Independent Electoral Commission are not on first-line charge, and that's why you see the wishy-washy elections they claim to conduct. Well, I know their problem. I've worked with CX. I know that part of their challenge, in fact, the bulk of the challenge of state Independent Electoral Commission was lack of financial autonomy. Because many a time when they want to conduct elections, they will go to the governor with their budget. The governor will cut the budget. He may cut it into half or 1/3, and say they should go and manage it to conduct whatever they think, and in the name of election. And at the end of the day, you see an election conducted where all the councillorship position, all the chairmanship position are won by the party that is in power in the state. Which is why Justice Uwais Umaru Committee of 2008 says that the State Independent Electoral Commission should be mainstreamed into INEC. It's because there is no financial autonomy for this State Independent Electoral Commission, just like it is for INEC. And if we are able to grant financial autonomy to CX, they have high caliber manpower that can deliver credible elections. Look at the just concluded election in US. Elections in US were conducted by the state. The state of Georgia, in fact, is a partisan Secretary of State in each of the 50 states in the US. I mean partisan in the sense that they are elected, the Secretary of State in each of the states were elected on party basis. So if you are a Republican, you will conduct the election in which both the Republican and the Democrats and Independents will contest. And you saw what happened on November 3rd, 2020 in US. Partisan Secretary of State were the ones that conducted elections across the 50 states in US. There is no centralized INEC in US that conducts election for all the federation at the center. Each state in US has their own different electoral laws. The Federal Electoral Commission in US only concerns itself with campaign finance, monitoring, and compliance. That's what it does. It does not conduct elections. Each of the states comes up, and that's why you see the state of Philadelphia will have a different electoral law compared to the state of New York or California or Arkansas or Delaware. They have different, 50 of them have different electoral laws, and they conduct credible elections.
But again, Jide, let's look at it. Every national election should be seen as significant. And as we walk towards 2023, some analysts are saying that this election too must be seen as very critical one, for stability of the country as it is. But again, this enormous power that the state governors, wield, what it will do to, elections of 2023 as we get ready for it. Now the state, when we talk about the state, SECOM is under the governor. Of course, you've talked about it, financial autonomy, not for them. The assemblies, too, are all under the control of the governors. And judiciary, too, all under the governors. So when are we ever going to talk about credible, free, fair, and credible elections in this country with these enormous powers that the governors wield?
I wish I knew. Look at let me touch briefly on the judiciary and what the governors are also doing. You could see how they abuse the judiciary in their respective states. In many instances, the most qualified judicial officers are denied their promotion. The one in Cross River State was just resolved, and was it this week or last week, where the most senior, who should actually have been sworn in as the chief judge of the state, was denied that position based on the fact that as at the time she started her judicial career in Cross River State, Akwa Ibom State was part of Cross River, and because there is now a state creation, a part of the state where she was born is now in Akwa Ibom, but she has spent all her judicial life in Cross River, and she is the most senior. And now, twice she was denied the confirmation by the State House of Assembly in Cross River. It was after public opinion was mounted, and at the end of the day, there was a third nomination, and Justice Ikwame was just sworn in, I think last Thursday or Friday. Now, you saw similar things that happened in several other states where the governor will say, this is my preferred chief justice, it's not about seniority, or because they were shopping for the most pliable person that they can work with. And even in terms of appointment of judges, the governors have the prerogative of who they want to nominate. At the end of the day, this has brought them in collision with the Federal Judicial Council, who has on several occasions rejected the nominations of governors because it doesn't follow due process. And that is the enormity of power wielded by the governors. And I'm asking myself, you know, the most disheartening thing for me, my brother, the most disheartening thing is to go and check my Facebook wall. I call out a number of governors. At least I was able to list about 12 governors who are former members of parliament before they become executive governors. Look at Tambuwa in Sokoto. He was a former member, Speaker of House of Reps. Masari in Katsina is a former member or a former House of Reps Speaker. Ben Ayade is a former senator. Okowa, Ifeanyi Okowa in Delta is a former senator. Bala Mohammed in Bauchi is a former senator. Simon Lalo was even a former Speaker of the State House of Assembly of Plateau State. Now he's the governor of Plateau State. Look at Oluwarotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. Look at the governor of Ekiti State. He's a civil society person. He's a member of NADECO. He rose through the ranks in the civil society and was believed to be a Democrat. That's Governor Karen Defayemi. Yes. And several of them who have either served as Speaker or member. Look at Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State. He was former member of House of Reps. Which other one? Quite a number of them. I was able to name about 12. Why would they not pressure their colleagues, their brother governor, to say this thing we are doing to the State House of Assembly is not right? Let's allow these people to enjoy their constitutional right to financial autonomy. Why are we doing this to local government? Why are we against the independent financial autonomy for local government? So, you know, it pains me when people don't want to lead by example. And these are people who will tomorrow want to be president of Nigeria. What would be their track record? If a constitutional amendment duly signed by the president and not faulted, the president set up another presidential implementation committee, came up with another executive order 10, and more than a year, you are still insistent that you will not allow financial autonomy to the State House of Assembly. You are still insistent that you want to have judiciary under your apron string. This is not the way to grow our democracy.
Okay, Jide, yes, we'll have to...
21 years into democracy, this fourth republic. Okay, I hope that one day soon that the governors will not truncate and derail this democratic consolidation project of Nigeria.
Okay, Jide, we'll have to, take a break. We have to go, shopping now. Go to a commercial shop, do some shoppings, and then come back with you. I still need to, get you on this last, one that we're discussing. We'll take a break now. We'll come back after the break. Welcome back. Here's the program Perspectives, and coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And we're looking at the autonomy of, to state institutions that the governors have just refused to, grant or to give to them. And so the consequences of these on our democracy, and of course we're looking at governors. Just before we went on the close of the first segment, my guest was talking about why these governors, that had one time been, in the state assemblies, and some of them have been senators, and, have had powers, in matters of governance, would want to do this, at state level, not granting autonomy, even when the laws, have been passed to do all of these. Again, we're asking that, how can we treat this? We've had at federal government level that committees and the implementations of how these laws, must be kept. But again, with arrogance and impunity, these governors are just not, allowing that to work. Now, Jide is my guest this morning. Is the executive director of Oja Consult, and he is also a columnist with the Punch newspapers, a blogger, author, culture enthusiast, and fellow of Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance, United States of America. And he's my guest this morning. Jide, I'm asking too that just what can be done, or this is just how it will continue. Is there any way to go about this, that they must be put in check? Is there any way that can, that we can put these governors, or emperors, as some have described them, is there a way that we can put them in check on all of this?
Of course, there are ways to put them in check. And if you, I'm glad you possibly have read my article on Wednesday, 10th of February, on this issue. And there are two pathways. In fact, there are actually three pathways. The first pathway is what the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria said they would do, which is after 21 days, if there is no financial autonomy granted the State Assembly, they are going to down tools. But I don't know whether that would be of much effect as the other two pathways I would suggest. One of the other pathways is for the State Assembly themselves to show courage by bluntly refusing to pass the administration appropriation bill of the state government, to turn down all requests for confirmation of anything. If they shut down the State Assembly, let's see whether the governors will run as a sole administrator. But you see, the challenge with that pathway is that many of the speakers who emerge at the pleasure of the governors will not want to lose their seats. And they may end up persuading their colleagues, no, let's not shut down the assembly. Let's confirm the nominees of the governor. Let's pass the budget. Let's do the screening. And that will mean they will continue to enslave themselves. If only people will be blind to their own ambitions alone and say, look, Conference of Speakers as a collective, they meet regularly. If they all decide that the 36 of them, no one should touch the appropriation bill or confirm anything from the governor until when they are allowed to enjoy their financial autonomy. If they agreed as a unit and nobody reneged, I think the governors will get the message and they will allow them to enjoy this financial autonomy. The third pathway is for the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who actually chaired the Presidential Implementation Committee, which led to the President's signing of the Executive Order 10, to go to court, and this time Supreme Court, because this is a face-off between two arms of government. So you don't have to go to the State High Court or Federal High Court to start another long journey that may lead to nowhere. Let the Attorney General and Minister of Justice go to the Supreme Court and ask for order of mandamus. The order of mandamus to compel the state governors to allow for financial autonomy. and the implementation of Executive Order 10 that have been published and signed. So you have a president who has signed the constitutional amendment way back on June 8, 2018, and Executive Order 10 on May 22nd, 2020. These two documents, let the Attorney General take it to the Supreme Court and say, my Lord, this is an affront on the Constitution of Nigeria. The governors have held this institution, this arm of government to answer, and it will not stand. Let there be an order of mandamus compelling the governors to accept. Once that order is issued, the Accountant General of the Federation can start making deduction that is due to State House of Assembly and crediting the account of the State House of Assembly directly without any recourse to the governor. Okay,
Jide, I see you asking for a tall order here. I mean, you just said about the state assemblies, what they can do, particularly with the speaker, that again was, put, to the assembly by the governor, and so he would want to do what the governor would want him to do. I want to take you to the federal level on all of this. In other climes, we've seen where parliamentarians had walked out because had resigned, even because they did not go with the policy of whatever the administration was putting across. We've seen that, but never have we seen this. I don't know, but you can correct me on that. At the federal level too, that people just watch what is going, especially this period where we see all that is going, and then you see people where they're standing not able to walk away and say, no, I cannot go with this. This is not part of what I believe, and so how this can work with what you're saying.
The point is, if those speakers will bury their own personal ambition and work in national interest and want their names to be written in gold, because look, 2023 is around the corner. I've cited two constitutional breaches by the governors to you.
Yeah.
Two constitutional breaches. One, Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, which says that no local government should be undemocratically governed. And yet, the governors year in, year out will go and appoint sole administrators, will go and appoint caretaker committees. There are states in this country where constitutionally where credible elections have not been conducted in 10-15 years. There are states that have only conducted one or two against Fourth Republic, which is against the letter and spirit of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Attorney General is looking the other way. Now we have another section of the Constitution being flagrantly abused by the governors. The governors cannot be greater than the president. Now, majority of these governors belong to the ruling APC. Why can't the president summon all the governors, even if it's at the Economic Council meeting, and table it as an agenda and say, my governors, what is the problem? Why don't you want financial autonomy for your State House of Assembly? Why do you want to run your state as an emperor? Because the longer implication of allowing the government to get away with this breach of the Constitution is that the call for restructuring and more devolution of powers to the states will gradually be abused again. That is why there is fear about state policing. Am I communicating?
I'm here with you. This
is why you see people say, hey, state police in the hands of this governor will be like a sword of Damocles because they will not allow opposition to exist in their states. You can see how governors have appropriated almost all the state institutions. The state media is captured. It is the governor, his deputy governor, and the only people in government that you see getting mentioned for most part of their news. The opposition during election are not allowed to even have the paid jingles on the state media. So how can we continue to have democracy run like this? So it has a longer implication that if we don't checkmate them on this issue of financial autonomy to State House of Assembly, if you don't checkmate them, there is a long-time implication that whatever devolution of power that may take place under a restructuring arrangement will be grossly abused by these governors.
Okay, Jide, I quickly must allow the audience to be part of this conversation, and so let's bring them in, ask questions, and have commentaries. And on 081 40,989, 081 40,989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. We're talking about why governors are opposed, to state institutions and the powers, sounding as emperors. Your concerns here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Toya Lavi.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jide. My name is Musa Bala.
Yes, Musa Bala.
In Victor family. Yeah, this is a very important topic, and it is very unfortunate that we still have this issue where it is obligated within the Nigerian context. Let me clearly say that the president, according to Jide, the president cannot call the governors to do the right thing.
He should be able to call them. I mean, I think that's the position of Jide.
By the time that he called them, it means the principle of separation of power and autonomy of the state has been interfered. The same governors go against the president on so many national policy, not to talk of state policy. Why should he call them? We should not have a president, we should not have a country where it is only the president that wants the right thing to be done. These governors can go to any land and do what they believe and what will benefit them. They can go to any land. We saw a situation where a governor in Nigeria went to the state assembly, presented the budget, read it, and passed it, and hit the district and said that is there anybody that have objection? Nobody. Why should Nigeria with more than 200 million in a situation where a president promised to allow the principle of separation of power according to our constitution take place, and he has allowed it? Then he is the same person now to call the state governors and tell them to do the right thing. If we look at the president we're having, it's a president that right for on the word go. You can insult him to any level. He can still give you what is due for you. What you don't even expect, he can still give you. Go ahead, it is your state. You are being elected by the people. So what we need is the change of mindset, not only by the politicians, but by the citizens of Nigeria. At least, even for a week or a month, can we please sit down and do the right thing?
Okay. All right. Yeah, Musa.
I think we'll be free from all dissolution.
Okay.
May God continue to bless Nigeria with good leaders, no matter where they come from, and no matter their tribe or religion, and may God distance us from corrupt leaders and their agents. Good morning.
All right, Musa, I got you on that. I'll squeeze in another call, so we can get back to Jide. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's Francis.
Yes, okay, Francis.
Thank you. Just like your guests have rightly explained all this, the answer and the conclusion of all these things is Nigeria is not yet a nation. Because these governors we are talking about here copy what they are doing at their various state levels from the national level. The governors we are talking about copy whatever they are doing at state level from the national. Take, for instance, just like the last speaker said, the president cannot. Is the president doing the right thing as the president of Nigeria? The president of Nigeria today, is he allegiance to the constitution? Then why then we expect a state governor to do otherwise?
Okay.
Until the head, the figure head, that is in charge of the nation entirely, do the right thing.
All right, we'll try to find out what the president is not doing right. Okay, Francis, I got you on that. I have to squeeze in this one call too, so I can get back to Jide. Hello, good morning. Quickly too, on your point. Yes, please quickly raise, what you want to. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Tony.
Yes, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Just get to the point now.
Yeah, it's Luca. You are calling from Rabari.
Luca, quickly. I have.
What's really happening? I've had all your discussion and your guests. You see, I have said this, and I'm saying it, and I'll continue to say it. until when the powers of the governors are reduced at the state level, because all these immunity, whatever, in fact, until they are removed from the constitution, that actually will forge ahead. See, the current politicians today, once you become a governor, you become a senator. Once you're a senator, you become a governor. Because the moment you are a governor, at the end of your tenure, you know the senator you are sitting there, by the time you come back to be the governor, then the governor goes to be the senator. So this is how they are changing their offices within themselves. Until when Nigerians rise against this proper position before we move forward.
Okay, look, I got you on that. Jide, if you're standing by, some contributions there. Musa Bala, Francis, and Luca, I limited time for you to, pick on this. 3 minutes to do that for us, Jide, if you can.
Yeah, but you need to recap what they said. I wasn't
okay. All right. For Francis, he was saying that the state governors, are getting their cue from what is happening at the federal level. That how is the president committed to the constitution too by some of the actions that we see. And Luca is saying that yes, until we try to bring down or cut or reduce the powers of the governor by whatever means, I don't know that. The governors will continue to be as powerful as they are now. And Musa Bala, who took, the first, our first caller, is saying that the president wants separation of powers to go on, but we're not seeing that with what is happening with the governors. And he's talking about politicians who would just go at any length and do whatever, to do all of this to Nigerians, and asking for good leaders, for us.
Okay. Anyway, I want to commend those who have called in on the program. We should know that Nigeria project is our collective project. And when some of us are raising issues of constitutionalism, it's not because we just want to be known or we want to make names. There's what is called rule of law. In the principles of rule of law, there are 3 principles under the rule of law. There is constitutionalism or supremacy of the constitution. That's what is called constitutionalism. Then there is equality before the law. And then there is fundamental human rights. These 3 are constantly in breach in Nigeria. Just like one of the callers said, there are several breaches the president himself has committed on the constitution of Nigeria. Look at the present extension of the tenure of IG. In breach of external laws, the Police Act 2020, and even provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that's why the person who said that the governors are taking a cue from the president is not far from the truth. But how do we rescue this country out of this political quagmire? You see, it is for us, citizen action. We must wake up. I am not in support of destructive protest or demonstration. But there are different ways by which you can engage the system. I have chosen the pathway of engagement through the media. I do analysis. I write opinion articles. I own a blog. And you can do things. Even if it's letter to the editor, you can write. If it's this issue of calling in, I know the chief press secretaries of the governors, their commissioners for information are listening if the governors are not. And you never can tell. And when they get public opinion and say that the preponderance of public opinion is going heavily against their actions and decisions, they may have a change of heart. Because we have no other country apart from this. We must defend this democracy. It is so unfortunate that 21 years into this democratic journey, in this fourth republic, we are still grappling with issues of constitutionalism. People just obeying the law of the land. We are not even asking for much. There is this law was passed by the parliament, was assented to by the president. There have been several consultations with the governors at the level of the Nigerian Governors Forum. Why would you want to perpetually enslave another arms of government, and you want to come out and openly say that you are a Democrat. This is how to practice democracy. Democracy thrives under checks and balances, separation of powers, and rule of law. And that's what I'm advocating for this morning.
All right, Jide, always a delight to have you on the program. We thank you for coming on Perspectives.
My pleasure,
all right, okay.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. And that's Perspectives for this Friday. And our guest has been Jide Ojo, the Executive Director of Ojak Development Consult, a columnist with the Punch newspapers, blogger, author, and cultural enthusiast and fellow of Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance, United States of America. We're talking about the enormous powers of the governors and why they would just not allow some institutions to have autonomy. Well, food for thought for all of us as we get ready and go into 2023, a year of decision again for who governs and who leads in the country. I'd like to thank K-Chat, my colleague, for connecting me with you people this morning. And of course, Wisdom for putting us in the pictures. We'll be back with Perspectives on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend.